They say that in a big city you're never more than 10 feet from a rat. A chilling notion, perhaps. Sadly, the truth is far more disturbing than that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Christian Bravery, and you are listening to Savage Bites. This story is called Click Click. Before we get into all that, please, if you would, just hit the like and subscribe button. All that good stuff really helps me grow the channel. Thank you so much. Okay, on with the story. Click. The electric light flooded the kitchen. Roger Mead made a cup of sweet tea by rote, then took a seat at the table. Hunching over, nursing the hot mug, his mind blank, he pinched the bridge of his nose, blinking away sleep. Beyond the picture windows, it was solid black outside. Inside, Roger perched in his little illuminated box like some eccentric zoological exhibit, contemplating his dim reflection in the glass above the sink. Dawn was 3 hours away. 3 hours of peace and quiet, 3 hours to himself, to get some work done before the day began in earnest, and Hannah and the kids came down, filling the kitchen with noise and activity. The organised chaos of breakfast, the hullabaloo of school preparations, the request for his help with various essential tasks, everything that made deep work impossible. He would retreat to his cramped study in the aftermath, could in truth have worked there in peace all along, but for some inexplicable reason he preferred the kitchen. Perhaps, he mused, he really quite liked the lively chaos of it all. It was a vivid slice of normality in an otherwise monochromatic, digitally dictated workday. Click, click. Roger took a sip of tea, then reached for the laptop, flipping it open. It winked into life with its familiar, cheery electronic trill, hollow now in the silence of the small hours. His Austrian client was demanding and indecisive in equal measure, an exasperating combination, and in the current economic climate, an anxiety-inducing one. Roger's team had been whittled to the bone in the last year, in an incremental cost-saving exercise that in no way modulated the CEO's expectations, the slack being taken up as best he could by Roger. Hence the early start. Roger took another sip of tea in the silence. Click, click. The life of an advertising executive was a precarious one at best, he thought, unless of course you were a partner in one of the bigger firms. Roger had no stomach for boardroom politics, or for the plague of endless, pointless meetings that such a billet would inevitably entail. Besides, his face just never seemed to fit in with that crowd, so that despite his talent and diligence, he was the interminable outsider, always on the periphery of things, hawking his resume from one ailing outfit to the next, dipping a toe in with a startup or two along the way, but never as founder. Despite these bitter indictments on his situation, in truth, it suited him well enough. Roger was free, or at least as free as one could be in this world. Roger checked his calendar, fired up his email, then glanced over the MSN newsfeed. Nothing momentous had occurred since he'd hit the hay last night. All to the good. Click, click. Roger set his glasses on the table. What was that infernal clicking? Click, click. There it was again, soft and precise. It was vaguely insectoid in that sense, or perhaps artificial. It came from somewhere out in the darkness beyond the glass pane of the side window. Roger dismissed it, deeming his own interest in the subject more than likely rooted in procrastination than genuine intrigue. He returned his attention to the dry technical email he'd been decoding from Gerard, the company COO, but he was soon distracted by a repetition of the sound. Click, click. His curiosity was piqued now. What could it be? It really was quite unusual. Far too cold outside for an insect, this early in January, he mused. A bird, some lesser-known variety of wood-dwelling species, perhaps? Or was it merely the workings of the central heating boiler, as it fired up automatically, under starting orders from the timer and thermostat? No, not that. Since the timer was set for 6:30, and that was an hour and a half away. He shrugged. Maybe it was a monster. That's what he would tell Lucas, his 6-year-old son, at breakfast, if the subject came up. Click, click. There it was again. Roger peered suspiciously into the darkness beyond the glass. There definitely was something out there, but even as he speculated, he knew that Despite the intrigue, he had no intention of venturing out into the night to investigate. Mystifying as it was certainly nothing more than a harmless, though slightly irritating distraction. Sliding his glasses on, he resumed his work, sipping tea as he read quietly. Then, later, pecking out his considered reply on the laptop keyboard. Click, click. Engrossed in this and other subsequent work, Roger ignored the repetition of the sound, and over the course of the next hour, zoned it out completely. His subconscious, filing the sound away under I for insignificant in some dark corner at the back of his mind. Outside in the darkness, a light drizzle glossed the leaf litter under the bright kitchen window. Overhead, the night wind stirred the upper reaches of a stand of denuded trees to a dull roar, beneath which several dark figures skulked amid the shadows. Dark alien figures, absorbed in their silent surveillance of the house and its lonely occupant. Alien figures they were, with rapacious minds profoundly unlike the minds of human beings, who regarded their subject with cold deliberation. They inched closer, each moving independently, but acting as a collective. They glanced from one to another, assessing their prospect, goading one another on. Ever and again, there would be a brief verbal exchange, clipped and precise in nature, delivered in the unique and distinctive native tongue known only to their type. Click, click. In the kitchen, Roger sat down with his second cup of tea. He glanced anxiously at his watch. There was so much left to do, and so little time. The brief would have to be complete and ready for delivery before the chaos of the family descended on him. He took a sip of tea and put his glasses on. Click, click. Well, thanks very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed that tale. I certainly enjoyed reading it and writing it. It's actually based on a true situation where I'm living right now. I have been working in the kitchen early in the mornings, and there is some kind of creature outside the window that makes this clicking noise, so I thought, that'd be a cool thing to turn into a Savage Bites tale. So there it was. Hopefully it isn't a platoon of aliens that came in to capture me and eat me or whatever. That'd be a bit depressing. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the story. Savage Bites is back. I got a whole bunch of stuff already written. I've been working over the Christmas and New Year period, focusing on Savage Bites, so much more to come. So yeah, thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.